Okay, it's about 10 o'clock, so we'll get started. We'll get a couple intro slides as maybe some additional attendees start to log in here. We welcome everybody to our Tech Talk, the last Tech Talk of September. My name is Wayne Welk, and I'm an automation specialist out of New Orleans, and just going to introduce our guest speakers and kind of discuss what's coming up next on our calendar. So our topic today, our guest speakers today are from Softing, an Encompass partner for Rockwell Automation. So joining us today will be Jim Ralston, Quentin Lowry, and Dean Horn, all with Softing, and they'll introduce themselves here in just a few moments and introduce Softing to everybody as well. Next slide there, Jim. Yep, and then so we like to just show what's coming up on the calendar. So we'll kind of start with our user group first on the left-hand side. So our user group topic in October will be condition monitoring, and that'll be on Thursday, October 22nd. And condition monitoring will include things like the Dynamics 1444 product. And our Tech Talk series, we're kind of starting to go to maybe, one every other week here in October and then into November perhaps. So we have about 3 left on the calendar for 2020, leading up to Automation Fair. So in October, early October, we'll look at another Encompass partner, SciTech and XL Reporter. Towards the end of October, we'll provide a visualization update and look at a new product line, VersaView 6300, which is a new operator interface line coming from Rockwell Automation through an acquisition of a company called Awesome. And then in November 4th, we'll do a preview for Automation Fair at home. And next slide there, Jim. We'll talk a little bit more about that. If you have not seen or heard, Automation Fair will be at home this year, meaning that you can stay home and attend online. It's the same experience as Automation Fair has always been. It'll be an online event starting on November the 16th, going through the 20th. And it'll actually be a pretty nice event. You'll be able to attend the keynote sessions, technical presentations, and even do hands-on labs, all remotely. And there will even be a virtual trade show, which I know Softing will probably have a virtual trade booth there as well for that event. So I don't think registration has opened yet. It should open up here very soon. So just stay tuned for more information from us. And with that, I will let our guest presenters introduce themselves and take it from here.
Well, good morning, and thank you very much, Brian and Jesse, and appreciate the opportunity to present to you all. Thanks for attending. I'm Jim Ralston, Director of Channel Sales for North America for Softing. And we also have Quentin Lowry and also Dean Horn on the line. Quentin and Dean, would you like to introduce yourselves briefly?
Sure, this is Dean. I'm Director of Marketing and Product Management for Softing. Jim's going to be your key featured speaker today. I'll be here if you have any questions. I'm also looking towards new markets and new features and things like that, challenges customers are having. So anything you want to provide in terms of feedback, then I'm your guy for that.
And I'm Quentin Lowry. As Jim said, I'm a business development engineer for our industrial products. So if it comes in the kind of vetting to make sure our products would be a good fit for a particular application, or whether it's doing demos for TManager or OPC UA module, or any type of technical questions, I'm typically the one that I get the first pass at them.
Well, thank you, Dean and Quentin, for your support today. And what we're going to cover today is a focus on our EATM PLC data appliances. And that is a solution that's part of our Get Connected, Stay Connected program. So I'll give you a quick overview of that on the next slide, and then talk more in depth about the TManager PLC appliance, which is a very quick, easy way to connect plant floor data to applications using both SQL and cloud connectivity solutions. We will also cover briefly our OPC UA Server appliance, which is another hardware-based way to exchange data with the OPC UA standard. Usually these presentations, we have, 45 minutes to an hour, so I'll do my best to cover what I can. We can definitely do a much deeper dive if any of you would like a one-on-one demo. That's something we can set up at a later time. So anyway, the Get Connected, Stay Connected program that Softing has, this has actually been our tagline for a number of years. Get connected, being able to connect different systems together. A lot of that's data oriented, of course, for example, OT to IT, OT to applications. And that's a big focus that our TManager appliance has, and also our OPC UA Server appliance. We also have two products that we're highlighting in this program. Phoenix Digital, this is a recent acquisition of Softing, which is a dual fiber, highly reliable, available, redundant Ethernet networking solution for PLCs. And also our NetExpert XG, which is an all-in-one portable Ethernet cable qualifier, troubleshooter, network tester, which works extremely well in the industrial markets. Industrial applications. But today the focus is on our TManager and our OPC UA appliance. So one of the first things to keep in mind, and you all are probably experiencing this if you're a manufacturer or oil and gas or a system integrator that supports those industries, there's just a greater need for more and more plant floor data. And that could be collecting information, data for analytics packages. It could be for visualization, mobile dashboards, etc. And also very traditionally using SQL Server or database servers like Oracle for things like recipe management and track and trace. So that's a trend that Softing's been involved with our customers, our clients for over 15 years. And that has led to some very good, sound ways to utilize and connect PLC plant floor data to these applications. Some of them may be using information for data collection. So writing to a database, writing to a cloud server, support for things like dashboards, production metrics, OEE, being able to analyze equipment effectiveness, regulatory information for FDA, for food and bev, EPA for the energy sector, doing higher level analytics for optimization, right? So those are all applications where you're collecting information and then writing it somewhere. Database, maybe local, maybe at a corporate headquarters, or possibly using a newer cloud service like AWS or Microsoft Azure as two examples. There's also, though, the need often to do bidirectional data applications. So in addition to writing to the database, being able to read back from the database, and track and trace is one of the largest ones because of requirements that customers and regulatory groups like FDA have. Recipe management, utilizing database or cloud technology to store complex recipes and download them to the PLCs, doing ERP type management and optimization. So what is TManager? So TManager is a hardware-based appliance available for ControlLogix and CompactLogix, and it gives direct connectivity from the PLC chassis directly to the cloud service, to the database server, in order to support all these different types of applications. And it's one of the most simplest, easiest, and very reliable ways to enable that connectivity. And one of the reasons for that is its ease of configuration. So often when there's the challenge to collect plant floor data and connect it to some type of database server or cloud service, there can be an awful lot of code development. This could be VB scripting in a in an HMI package, or it could be JSON code development for some of the newer cloud services. Just a lot of time, a lot of complication, complex code. If things need changed, it's not very adaptable, right? So TManager uses quite a bit different approach to doing that configuration by providing with the TManager hardware or software, which makes it very easy to browse PLC information in all the connected PLCs, see the endpoints in the database or the cloud services, and then quickly, simply drag and drop to build a map. And this really cuts down on the development time, makes it very easy for even a non-PLC engineer, control engineer, to be able to see where the data is in the existing PLC systems and drag and drop to create maps for data collection. And one of the most major benefits of TManager on top of that is that it does not require or need a dedicated computer. It's a standalone client in the architecture of the PLC, and therefore there's no computer in the middle, there's no OPC server, there's no need for worrying about Windows updates, etc. So highly reliable way to transfer data. We offer, as I mentioned, two versions of it, the ControlLogix and the CompactLogix model. Both appliances have two isolated Ethernet ports, so that's a very good fit to meet security requirements, especially if the cloud service or the database server is on a protected network. Both of them can also connect up to multiple PLCs. Our ControlLogix version, for example, can connect up to 16 PLCs, and those could be any type of Rockwell PLC, just about, including CompactLogix and even older SLICs and PLC5s and MicroLogix. There's also optional adapters for connecting to other PLCs you may have in the plant, other brands like Siemens, for example, or DCS or PLCs that run Modbus TCP. The CompactLogix version is a little simpler. It'll support up to 3 PLCs, and those must be CompactLogix. In both cases, the TManager connects directly as a client to either SQL Server, Oracle, MySQL. We even have support still for AS400s, IBM DB2 databases, or as a publisher subscriber to cloud service using an MQTT broker, such as AWS or Microsoft Azure. Both appliances as well include store and forward buffering. So if you're collecting critical data, track and trace, let's say, or regulatory information, there's buffering available in each of the TManagers to ensure that if something happens to the database connection or the server itself or the cloud connection, no data is lost. From a install base perspective, Team managers have been deployed over the last 15 years in all types of different industries. Probably its roots are more automotive because of the early track and trace requirements. So we have many large companies that have hundreds of team managers installed worldwide. Some applications, visualization, metrics, dashboards, collecting information for production, quality control, track and trace, machine monitoring, OEE, recipe download management. Chances are very good that if you have a particular application, we already have experience most likely in that industry and can help you, make good choices in regards to that. One team manager application I wanted to talk about in particular because it is oil and gas. It is a system we did for a oil and gas company that has hundreds of remote compressor sites. And one of their challenges was collecting not only the process information from those remote sites, but also the custody transfer information, which is very important to the oil and gas industry. So they deployed our ControlLogix Team Manager in the rack of the ControlLogix PLC in each of these remote compressor sites as a way to connect back to their headquarters and send information over a wide area network. That was very much a preferred solution for them because of the, it got rid of the need to maintain a Windows platform in all these remote sites, number one. And then number two, the store and forward buffering just meant that they had insurance that they would not lose that critical data, especially their custody transfer information. Another customer had a requirement for doing track and trace to record throughout a manufacturing process the information of the process values for each of the parts that they make. And because there was different parts, different sections of the process, casting, finishing, quality control, they needed to access the database during different segments, right? So what they came up with was an interesting concept of creating a birth certificate for each part that they manufactured. And so there would be a serial number assigned from the database to that part at the beginning of the process. And then throughout each process, they would access the database in order to record information for that particular part. So at the end, they'd have a birth certificate for the finished product that would contain all of the track and trace information their customers required. So they utilized TManager in an interesting way in a data concentrator application or approach where ControlLogix PLCs were deployed, connecting to a lot of the legacy PLCs that they had. And they have over 40 plants, so it was quite a mix of different things, different PLC models. But by implementing TManager in the ControlLogix chassis, they were able to utilize that connection, be able to support this large initiative for track and trace on a global basis. Another customer we have had an interesting challenge where they decided to digitize all of their XYZ coordinates for their CNC operations and store that information in a database. And the challenge was that because of the complexity of their parts, there's actually over 10,000 words or data tags that would contain the recipe for each of these customized parts that they build. So the database technology made an awful lot of sense, but the challenge was with all of those words, there was with that amount of data, obviously very difficult to manage that in the PLC itself because of limited memory. And then also a lot of some of the other solutions are tag-based, charging for tag count. And because they have, 40 production lines, the cost of that would quickly add up. One of the benefits of TManager is it does not have a tag limit. So they were able to deploy the Compact Logix TManager, connecting it to SQL Server, and then institute a download process of over 10,000 tags to one of 3 PLCs per TManager. And that is excellent application for them. The transfer happens in less than 10 seconds, actually, if you can imagine that. So that's another approach for using TManager. Now, one of the things that our customers are looking at more and more is cloud services. So we have, as a company, lots of experience using traditional database servers, such as Microsoft SQL and Oracle, but there's also the newer trend of cloud-based services, such as AWS and Microsoft Azure. MQTT is a preferred and supported protocol, and Softing, we are in partnership with AWS IoT. If you go to their website, you can see the URL down there. There's only 3 partners listed. Softing is listed as a preferred partner for PLC data collection, and I just wanted to emphasize that we make it very easy to support the cloud-based solutions. We are cloud agnostic. It doesn't have to be AWS. We do support Azure or others with the MQTT, but as you can see, Amazon AWS is a key partner for us, and we're happy to set up demos if you would like to see that connectivity with their new site-wise architecture. So that's a brief overview of our TManager technology. I was also asked to present our OPC UA appliance because of its popularity in the oil and gas and energy sectors. So what is OPC UA? UA is Unified Architecture. It's the latest generation of OPC. It is a totally redesigned OPC UA model, or model that displaces OPC DA Classic. We do see a very strong adoption rate of OPC UA, especially in critical industries such as oil and gas, power generation, and we also support a special version of OPC UA called MVIS, which is a version, a modeling version of OPC UA specifically for offshore oil and gas rigs. One of the other benefits of UA is that it is not limited to Microsoft operating systems, so you can run it on other devices such as Linux and Android operating systems. And another major benefit of UA is its security features. And that's key for the FERC, NERC, NIST, ISA cybersecurity rules. So it supports those out of the box as a protocol solution. And then you can see my last bullet point here, no DCOM, and that's a big deal if you've tried to use OPC Classic as a way to communicate remotely or across networks. DCOM is a big security issue, which goes away completely with UA. Softing as a company, we are a technology leader with UA. We actually developed the core UA model that the OPC Foundation supports. And then we offer UA as development kits for software developers, and also in a number of our own products, such as our OPC UA Server appliance. So this is a 1756 module that fits into the Control Logix rack. And it is actually an OPC UA server. So that eliminates the need for a physical server in case there are applications, OPC UA clients like historians, MES systems, ERP systems like SAP, where UA is the preferred protocol to connect and extract information or read and write to the PLC. This approach means that you can plug our UA server appliance directly in the rack, have immediate support for the OPC UA standard, meet security requirements, and avoid having a computer in the middle, which increases reliability and is a very quick way to support that UA standard. When our UA appliance connects into the PLC, it has access to all the local tags and can also connect over Rockwell networks to several PLCs. It allows the direct connection of up to 3 UA clients, and you can read and write between those. And again, if you notice this diagram, there's no computer server in the middle, right? So the clients are connecting directly to the PLC over Ethernet. We also provide with the UA appliance a very easy GUI for configuration, not only of selecting which tags, but also the security aspects of UA, including the ability to import certificates, which is part of that cybersecurity requirement. Okay. So you can see that with the TManager and the OPC UA technology that both have very good capability to handle a number of wide applications, writing information for application support, dashboards, etc. Bidirectional track and trace recipe management. We do, as a follow-up, if you're interested, contact us or contact your friendly neighborhood Reynolds rep. We're happy to set up live TManager demos to show you more of what their capability are. There's a lot of integration as well for the PLC to track and the status of transactions, which again is another major benefit of that approach. And we're happy to review your application. We also have a YouTube channel full of useful videos, and we're also on LinkedIn. So thank you very much for attending, and appreciate your time today. And I will hand it back over to our Reynolds folks.
All right, Jim, thank you. That was very good. We'll give our audience just a chance to chat in any questions, perhaps, or if you, I believe we can unmute you if you like to ask it live as well. I have one question, Jim, perhaps on the OPC UA module. Have you seen any demand or about putting OPC UA client capability in the Control Logix module?
Yes, actually that's been requested several times from customers. It certainly is possible. I'm not aware that we have an active development program for that. The TManager technology is a client, so there's a lot of there's a lot of focus on with the client technology, the client side configuration of really knowing what the application is, setting up triggers, setting up transactions, right? It kind of drives things, right? With our server appliance, it's very easy because it's just after it's configured, the client has access to it. So anyway, it's a good question. Currently, we do not support client, but it is possible, especially if it's a large opportunity.
Okay, looks like we did get a question in the chat. I don't know if you can see that, Jim.
Yes, let me bring that up. So So can you talk about buffering time series data on the EATM for store and forward? Can this be used as a limited local historian? Well, the purpose of our store and forward buffering is specifically to ensure that no data is lost. Okay, so that's its primary function. It's not a database in of itself. It facilitates the buffering of that data to the database, which could be a historian, right? Potentially, depending on how fast the scan times are for collecting the information. So what TManager does specifically is if the connection has failed to the server, it will store the records locally in its memory, time-stamped for when the data was collected, when the trigger occurred, and then upload it automatically to that database. And it is also possible to monitor store and forward status from the PLC through a status tag. And also TManager can be configured to send out an alert, email alert that it's in store and forward mode. But it's not a database in of itself. Thank you for the question. Let's see, it looks like we have a question in the Q&A. How much buffering will the unit store? Thank you, Roger, for asking that. So in the ControlLogix version of the TManager, we have a total of 7 gigabytes available of user memory. And that user memory can be used for, you have the option of also capturing logs for some of the track and trace FDA requirements, audit logs, for example. And it can also be used to allocate for store and forward. So 7 gig is the total amount of memory, and then for each transaction, you can define how much of that memory is utilized for a transaction. The CompactLogix version is a little smaller. It's up to 3 gigabytes available. In both cases, usually, and it depends certainly by the customer's application. But usually when we've done calculations for customers asking, well, how long until the buffer fills, the answer is usually days, if not weeks, if not months. so that's the, that's how our store and forward buffering works. Okay. Any other questions?
Doesn't look like at the moment. So we'll give everybody one more chance to kind of type in there. But Jim, Quentin, and Dean, we really appreciate the presentation today. Definitely very good stuff. And especially good to kind of get an update on the UA. That's a big trend we do see happening. And so it's all good. So we'll go ahead and close out our session. So once again, thanks everyone for attending, and our guys from Softing for presenting.
Thank you, everyone. And remember to contact us for those live demos. They could be quite effective for allowing you to learn more about the products and have a solution for your applications. Take care.
All right, thanks.